we are going to attempt, I have to say that because this is still an experiment, we are going to attempt a radio contact with the International Space Station. As you can see right back here on the big screen, the space station is out over the ocean right now. So it has actually gone all the way around the planet. We actually, while a bunch of you were eating lunch, we listened to the space station talk to a school in Florida. And in the time that it took you to finish lunch, get a few other things done, and then come down here, the space station has gone all the way around the planet. Every 90 minutes, it actually goes around the Earth. Every 45 minutes, they go from sunrise to sunset, or sunset to sunrise. So what we are waiting for right now are a few things, guys. Are you going to be able to avoid these cables? Okay, do not mess with the cables, please. Let's see if I can move these out of the way. What we are looking at right now is we got our tracking program, and this is watching where the space station actually is. As soon as it gets within range, you see this big kind of green oval around it, almost looks like an egg? That egg represents the footprint. The footprint means that we should be able to see it with the radio antennas. Now, these gentlemen over here, we owe a great thanks to because they have donated their time. And I gotta say, they never asked for anything. So these two gentlemen right here, Mr. Belcher and Mr. Van Frank, they are operating our two radios. Why two radios? If for some reason, any reason, and there are a myriad of reasons, one of the radios should break or stop working, we have to have a second one, a backup radio. We've got several mics up here. It looks like a mess, I know. So right here, this is actually our primary radio. This is our first radio. If something happens, you'll see us switch very quickly. You may not even notice it. Then we'll switch right over to the backup radio, and that'll be on this mic. What we are trying to do is get through 16 questions as quickly as we can while we are talking to one of the astronauts. The current expedition, every expedition has a number. The current expedition is 33. The astronauts, cosmonauts, and we have one gentleman from Japan. We have 6 people on the space station, but we only get to talk to one. He took off out of Kazakhstan last week. Kazakhstan, excuse me, I mispronounced that earlier today too. Kazakhstan. He took off with 2 cosmonauts. We will be talking to retired Colonel Kevin Ford. Now, one of the cool things is he's from Indiana. So we are actually talking to a Hoosier in space. Gotta be kind of cool. So what you're going to see is as we go through this process, and as I'm talking, the space station is getting closer and closer. As we go through this, I will be showing you the questions that each student is reading. So if you can't hear the students, we do have a speaker a microphone right here so that hopefully they are speaking into it. And I hope everybody can hear that relatively well. But if you start clapping or rustling your feet, it will get loud in here. You know this. We've talked about it before. What you heard earlier. Hey guys, could I be able to turn down the scope for just a second so they can hear it? What you're going to hear, it's going to sound really loud at first. And in fact, I'm looking at this group of kids right here and I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe out of courtesy. I almost lost that one. I want to back that up just a little bit. Again, this is an experiment. We're doing our best here. There are so many things that could go wrong. But here is one of those chances that we have to do something great. Amateur radio has been around for a very long time. Amateur radio is kind of hobby radio. People that have chosen this hobby, like our gentleman here, they've chosen this hobby as a way to communicate with friends, But also, as we have Hurricane Sandy coming across New York and New Jersey and all those East Coast states, and so many of them are having trouble with their power and getting evacuation going on, one of the calls that went out via email was asking for all the amateur radio operators that were able to offer their assistance. I've got a badge here. When all else fails, amateur radio. This is one of the ways that in the event of an emergency, our country and other countries all around the world are able to maintain communication. Amateur radio has a lot of great history. In fact, a lot of the technology that we have today, cell phones, have a lot to thank amateur radio. Email, a lot of amateur radio got started in dealing with packets of information, digital messages, emails. So as we look at the history of amateur radio and how this all ties together, there is so much science and technology and engineering and math going on. This is one of those untapped resources that we really have to bring back to focus. I've had an amateur radio station in my classroom for years. And my classes, over the years, first graders and now third graders have enjoyed talking to people all over the world. This is something greater than that. We get to talk to somebody really not on this world. They're up in space. And I had right there at the beginning, the last information that I looked at said that it was approximately 236 miles above our planet. That's a long way. That's a very long way. So we actually are going to be talking and trying to kind of catch a moving target. So the best way you can help us, and especially help them, is by showing your respect and showing your silence. Listen. The squelch, that real staticky sound, you won't hear it very long. What you'll do is you'll hear it as we are in between talking to the space station. Because when they talk to us, the squelch goes away and we hear them. And when I'm actually controlling our radio and I press down the mic and one of these students talks, then you won't hear the squelch either. The squelch is sort of the in-between. Now, there is one thing that I'm going to need your help with. At the end of our contact, and I'm going to be looking to these gentlemen to help us know when that is. One of the things, and I was explaining this to them, so some of you may have heard me talking to them when you walked in. One of the things that we're not quite certain about is exactly how many questions we're going to get up to the space station. When we listened to astronaut Ford earlier, he was giving some fairly long answers. We're probably going to have, are we thinking 9, 10 minutes? 9 or 10 minutes of good communication with the space station. Now, as we approach that time, and the space station starts to sound really, really scratchy, like they're getting out of range. Have you ever had a bad phone call with somebody on a cell phone? And it starts to get kind of scratchy, and then all of a sudden, the call goes away and it gets dropped? Well, the same thing's going to happen. Except what it is the space station is actually going to move too far away from us for us to be able to have a good, clear line of sight communication. If we can catch it before it gets too far away from us, I'm going to need your help. In the world of amateur radio, a lot of it started with Morse code. And in Morse code, there were a lot of different shortcuts or different abbreviations that they used to communicate. One of them that you used as sort of your I'm signing off and I'm saying goodbye and thanks and good talking to you and it's been great and hey, thanks for talking to me, is 73. So what we need to do at the end of this, if you can help me with this, is I will turn the mic around. I will pull the mic out right at the end, and I will turn the mic around, and I will call them. They actually have a call sign. I didn't really talk about that. Amateur radio operators all have licenses. And your license is a call sign. Mine happens to be KA3QAX. My father's happens to be KD3EF. Several gentlemen in here have their call signs too because they've all taken tests and gotten their license. call sign for the space station is NA1SS. As we get to the end of the conversation, if we can have just that last goodbye from everybody, this is from you guys too, so I need you paying attention. Everybody. If it's over, if we're about to be done, then I'm going to say NA1SS, this is KA3QAX. Thank you, goodbye, and then I'm going to turn the mic on you, and I want everybody to sound out as loud as you can, 73s. Can we give that a try? Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to push the mic because we don't want to scare anybody on the radio right now. But I'm going to do, okay, this is the simulation. Everybody with me? Yeah. NA1SS, this is KA3QAX. Thank you so much, goodbye, farewell, and... Awesome. All right. Gentlemen, how are we doing? 9 minutes, all right. The current countdown is 9 minutes. What we're looking for is, we want this bubble right here to be right over Indiana. As it approaches Indiana, and unfortunately, I don't know if you can see it from the way back, I bet you can't. I'll tell you what's up here. What it says is Indianapolis. The reason it says Indianapolis and not West Lafayette is because some silly person didn't plug West Lafayette into this program. I mean, come on. Why is West Lafayette in this program? But you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Indianapolis is close enough. As you see this green edge come right across and get right up to that little plus sign there by Indianapolis, that's going to be our sign. As we get closer, these gentlemen are going to start talking to me about, okay, it's time to call. I have to make contact. That's all I'm actually here for. I am here to make contact, and then it's all them. So you guys listen to the responses. We have some great questions. We have some fantastic questions, and unfortunately, I know for a fact we're not going to get to all of them. I hope we can get through the first row and the second row. But if retired Colonel Ford is a little bit long on some of his answers, we may not get as many as we think.
Mr. Brantley?
Yes.
When you come on,
yes.
Can you let retired Colonel Ford know that this is a school of kindergarten, first, second, and third graders?
Absolutely.
And so maybe he will shorten his answer, because some elementary schools are K through 5 or things like that, which they would have more complicated answers. Maybe he will.
That information did go into the ISS. And
okay, well maybe he already knows.
But probably a nice reminder wouldn't hurt. Is anybody sitting there with a question? We've got a couple minutes, and I don't want people sitting there. Reagan, what's your question, dear? Oh, come on, be loud. Would you what? Will you take up the whole time? I hope not. I hope that if he answers like, Ryan didn't have the first question, what does the inside of the space station look like? I hope that he's got kind of a nice, neat answer. It looks like the inside of a train, except it's round. I don't know. He's going to have his answer. And hopefully, he's actually talked with some of the other people on the space station, both American and Russian and Japanese, and maybe they've all written down some of their responses. I mean, it would kind of be cool if this was a team effort, but I don't know exactly how they handled that. That information hasn't been given to me. How are we doing? 6 minutes. Yes, sir. No. Okay, that's a good question. What you're going to see is exactly what you see right now. You're going to see this map as the space station moves across. This is not a video conference. We are not FaceTiming with the International Space Station. We are not Skyping with them. We don't have that set up. In fact, I'm pretty sure that only NASA has that set up with the space station. What we are doing is we are just using radios. And I should have put a picture in here of the antenna that we have up on the roof. Mr. Belter here has his own designed antenna. This is actually quite an amazing thing. A little bit later, maybe in a week or two, I will have a website out that will have all the pictures from this, video of this, and hopefully some audio from this so that you can share this with your parents at home, you can share this with your friends, you can look at it again and again, and you guys that actually got to participate, you can share it with your family and friends too. What we have is radios, no video. You're all listening. So this really is one of those times when you have to be listening as best you can. And I know for a lot of you right now, you've been sitting and you've been waiting and waiting. We're down to about, what, 4 minutes? 4.5 minutes? 4.5 minutes. So we are getting closer and closer. And, oh my gosh, it's actually hit North America. We're getting closer. This is good news. So Indiana's going to be right about here, so we got a little bit further to go. 17,500 miles an hour. It is not moving slow. In fact, during Space Day, it was kind of funny. They had a speed limit sign for the space station in the space station. It was quite funny. Yes, ma'am.
Radios are, I think, boys and girls, if some of you have not seen a radio, the kind of radios that we're going to be using today, they have lots and lots of cords. The things that you may have had at your house might be like walkie-talkies or something like that, or even cell phones. But these radios are like superpower walkie-talkies.
So
or superpower cell phone.
Right, so where Ms. Bowers is talking about a walkie-talkie, I'll bet a lot of you used something like this before. Maybe not an amateur radio, but a walkie-talkie like this. What we're looking at here, though, are the big radios. These have a lot more power. In fact, about how much power are we using to communicate with the space station? 170 watts. Now, okay, we're down to 3 minutes. A little walkie-talkie has maybe 1 to 5 watts. So that little walkie-talkie is about 1 to 5 watts of power. But these radios, we're using 170 watts because we are trying to get a signal, a radio signal, to go 200 miles up in the air. Getting closer. Alrighty, so we are down to 3 minutes. Gentlemen, you gotta let me know when it's about time that we need to start trying to call. Okay. 2.5? All right, 2.5 minutes. Now, I need everybody listening because I'm going to need your ears too. Because we've got one little speaker right here, but you guys actually have the big speakers. What you're going to be listening for is for NA1SS to call back to KA3QAX. That's us. That's me. So we're looking for them to call back and say, we hear you. And then they're going to give us some information. How well do they hear us? A 5-9 means 5. Yep, we can hear you clearly, and your power is 9. 9 is the top of the power. 2 minutes.
Boys and girls, let's also think about this. Right in here, if the squelch or if anything is too loud for you, do that. Right? Because we don't want you to make any noise. But if you are right here, and it seems a bit loud, just cover your ears, and that won't even make any noise. You kind of have to pretend like you're in a tornado drill, only you don't have to be in that weird position. Okay? You just have to pretend like you're sitting there in a tornado drill, not making any noise, just listening for the information. And in a tornado drill, you listen for information from me or from your teacher. Today, we're listening for information from space. So you gotta really listen closely. It's 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, everybody listening? We're going to make our first attempt to see if they can hear us. NA1SS, NA1SS. This is KA3QAX calling from Cumberland Elementary. NA1SS. This is KA3QAX, Cumberland Elementary, calling the International Space Station. Next second.